Imagine holding in your hands a golden jewel that seems alive with light. To most eyes, it is just a piece of amber, smooth, solid, shining with the warm hue of honey. But peer closely into its depths, and you will see something extraordinary. Encased within its shimmering prison is a moment frozen in time. A tiny insect stands as if in mid-flight, its delicate wings still spread. A feather lies sealed in eternal silence, forever detached from the predator or bird that once carried it. Occasionally, you may even find the ghostly outline of a reptile or amphibian, curled within the amber as though resting. Amber is far more than a beautiful stone. It is one of the most incredible time capsules the natural world has ever created. In prehistoric forests, resin oozed from trees, sticky and dangerous. It trapped insects, drops of rain, pollen grains drifting on the wind, even small vertebrates unlucky enough to brush against it. Over millions of years, that resin fossilized, transforming into the golden gem we see today. And inside it, the tiny prisoners remain so perfectly preserved that they look alive, even though they date back nearly 100 million years. Never has nature built such an archive. Unlike fossils in stone, which grind creatures down to bones and shadows, amber captures the fragile details of life: hairs, feathers, colors, eyes, even evidence of behavior. A spider attacking prey, a tick drinking blood, a lizard mid-hunt. Time truly seems to have paused inside these gleaming relics. But beyond beauty and fascination, amber holds something else. It offers glimpses of life that is almost alien in its strangeness. Creatures that look like monsters from nightmares, predators with tools of murder beyond imagination, tiny reptiles with dragon skulls, spiders bearing tails, ants wielding guillotine jaws. They may be small in size, but in their design, they are bizarre, terrifying, and unforgettable. Tonight, we will explore this world in depth. We will journey through the golden vaults of time to discover the most bizarre creatures ever found in amber. Along the way, we will see not only what life was like in the Cretaceous forests, but also how strange, creative, and sometimes terrifying evolution has always been. Welcome to a story where every shining droplet contains a tale, where every fossil looks back at us with a 100-million-year-old stare. In 2020, the world was stunned when scientists announced a discovery from Burmese amber. Inside a piece of resin smaller than a coin was the skull of a creature miniature in scale, but massive in mystery. Measuring only 1.4 centimeters long, the skull sported jaws filled with more than 40 needle-sharp teeth. Its eyes were gigantic, bulging forward in owl-like orbs, dominating its face. The skull looked both bird and reptile, predator and delicate insect feeder. The team named it Oculudentavis, meaning eye-toothed bird. Initial reports declared it the smallest dinosaur ever found, rivaling the size of a hummingbird. Headlines exploded around the globe. Imagine a dinosaur no larger than a thumb, darting through Cretaceous forests like a fairy dragon, its tiny jaws snapping up mosquitoes and gnats. But the story quickly grew complicated. Paleontologists scrutinized the specimen again. They noticed details that did not fit neatly into the dinosaur category. The arrangement of bones, the shape of the skull, the structure of its eye sockets. These all whispered of something more lizard-like. Subsequent finds suggested that Oculudentavis was not a bird dinosaur at all, but perhaps an unusual lizard that happened to evolve skull features resembling birds. To this day, scientists continue to debate its place on the evolutionary tree. Bird, lizard, or something in between? A branch never before recognized? What is certain is that evolution produced, at least once, a creature unlike any other. A reptile so small, so toothy, so owl-eyed, that it continues to haunt the scientific imagination. Amber not only revealed its existence, but gave us a three-dimensional, high-resolution portrait of its face, one that looks eerily back at us from a prison of ancient resin. Oculudentavis is a reminder that size does not limit strangeness. Sometimes the tiniest fossils deliver the most mind-bending surprises. Now we descend into true nightmare fuel. Among the most infamous discoveries in amber are the so-called hell ants, insects that stalked the Cretaceous some 99 million years ago. At first glance, you might not notice much. They are small, delicate, the size of modern ants. But study them closely and horror emerges. Unlike modern ants, whose mandibles swing sideways, hell ants possess jaws that curved upwards like sickles. From the top of their heads sprouted blade-like horns. These two grim adaptations worked in unison to create traps of death. When prey brushed against the horn, the jaws scissored upwards, clamping the victim against the blade. The sharp edges cut deep, immobilizing the prey. A few specimens are captured in amber mid-strike. Hell ants impaling juvenile cockroaches, their design operating flawlessly in a moment forever preserved. This is evolution at its wildest. Insects had already experimented with every manner of predation, but hell ants represent an evolutionary arms race gone extreme. They ruled for a time. Then, like many evolutionary experiments, they disappeared. We know little about why their line went extinct while other ants thrived. What we do know is that amber immortalized them at their most terrifying moment. Jaws open, prey secured, like a horror film paused within golden light. Hell ants show that size does not matter. Even creatures smaller than a grain of rice can inspire nightmares. Most often, amber preserves the small: flies, spiders, beetles, plant fragments. But every so often, chance captures something incredible. In 2018, researchers announced a breathtaking find: the remains of a baby snake. Barely 5 centimeters long, the tiny snakelet had been crawling through undergrowth nearly 100 million years ago when resin engulfed it. Preserved within are its vertebrae, ribs, and scales, arranged with impeccable clarity. Every vertebra is distinct, the skeletal structure perfectly articulated. This fossil is one of the oldest known snakes from tropical forests, and it helps scientists understand how snakes first colonized such environments. It suggests that even during the reign of the dinosaurs, snakes had already diversified into ecological roles, slithering not only in deserts or riverbanks, but among the leaf litter of jungles. Looking at the amber specimen, one cannot help but feel both awe and discomfort. The snake looks less like a fossil and more like an animal merely sleeping, waiting to awaken. That illusion of life in pause is one of amber's most haunting qualities. For some, spiders are already terrifying, but amber reveals arachnids stranger than anything alive today. In 2018, fossils were described of a creature called Chimera yingi, preserved in Burmese amber nearly 100 million years old. At first glance, it looks like a spider. It had spinnerets, capable of producing silk, and body structures broadly similar to modern spiders. But there was something unique. Extending from its abdomen was a long, thin, whip-like tail. The tail was flexible, likely used as a sensory probe. Imagine a spider scuttling across bark, spinnerets preparing silk, while behind it trailed a long whip twitching with every vibration. This hybrid form represents a transition between older arachnid lineages and true spiders. It is called Chimera because it is part chimera, the blending of two forms. It is both spider and whip scorpion, both familiar and alien. In amber, its tail still curls delicately, as if movement froze in air. Encountering it for the first time, one might think it a nightmare sketch. Yet it is real, recorded in nature's oldest resin. The discovery of feathers in amber is one of the most revolutionary moments in paleontology. Long ago, most thought dinosaurs lacked feathers, appearing only as reptilian giants. Amber revealed that feathers are ancient and diverse, present in an array of dinosaur lineages. Some pieces of amber contain feathers delicate enough to show microscopic structures. Under light, they shimmer. Some are iridescent green, others copper, others brilliant shades resembling modern hummingbirds. Dinosaurs, we now know, wore coats of dazzling beauty. But alongside beauty, amber showed irritation. On some feathers, ticks cling with determination. These parasites once fed on the blood of dinosaurs. It is an oddly intimate image, a magnificent raptor strutting with shining plumage, simultaneously twitching in discomfort as tiny ticks drank from its skin. Amber does more than prove dinosaurs had feathers. It gives us glimpses into their daily struggles, parasites included. It humanizes them, reminding us that even giants were annoyed by bloodsuckers. Another unforgettable discovery is a frog sealed in amber nearly 99 million years ago. Frogs are fragile, delicate. Rarely do they fossilize well, yet amber captured one in exquisite clarity. The specimen shows limbs intact, skeleton visible, skin faintly outlined. It looks eerily alive, like a miniature figurine perfectly sculpted. Scientists could study its anatomy in ways never before possible, tracing how frogs in the Cretaceous already resembled their modern relatives. The frog in amber is not monstrous, but its very normality feels bizarre. It bridges deep time, showing us that frogs hopped across forests even as dinosaurs ruled the skies and land. Tiny, soft, yet enduring, it sits in amber as evidence of persistence. We often imagine dinosaurs and giant reptiles, but what of plants? Amber gives us entire flowers in bloom, petals sealed as if they blossomed yesterday. Some fossils contain beetles and flies preserved with pollen grains attached to their legs. These fossils capture the very origins of pollination. They show that by the mid-Cretaceous, the relationship between flowering plants and insects was already thriving. This was the beginning of modern ecosystems. The small dramas of pollinators visiting flowers laid the foundation for much of the diversity of life we see today. Amber does not only honor the monstrous, it celebrates the ordinary, revealing how simple interactions shaped the future. Among the strangest fossils are not the animals themselves, but the forces that consumed them. In one piece of amber, a fly lies twisted, its body pierced by fungal filaments. The fungus had grown inside, erupting grotesquely outward to spread spores. It is the earliest evidence of zombie fungi, predators of insects whose nightmare life cycles continue in tropical forests today. This fossil is haunting because it shows not just anatomy, but the process of death. The fly died as the fungus consumed its tissues. Resin poured onto the scene, capturing a grotesque sculpture, half fly, half fungal bloom. Nature's horror stories are old, and amber has recorded them with unflinching precision. Perhaps the most striking feature of amber is not only what it captures, but how. Amber freezes time mid-motion. We have fossils of spiders lunging at prey, their fangs extended. We have insects clasped in mating, wings intertwined. We have lizards attempting to swallow smaller insects. Each is a moment utterly ordinary in its day, but rendered extraordinary by preservation. Amber is nature's photography, its earliest cinematography. It is motion stopped, not by camera shutters, but by resin flows. In each piece, an instant of prehistory lingers with us still. Long before science, amber fascinated humans. Ancient Greeks called it electron, giving us the word electricity. In the north, Vikings sought it as the gold of the sea, washed up on Baltic shores. Across Asia, it was treasured as spiritual stone, capable of trapping souls. Pebbles of amber were carved into amulets, believed to protect against evil. In modern times, amber inspired popular culture. It was in amber that Jurassic Park imagined cloning dinosaurs. While DNA does not survive intact, the dream reveals how powerful the symbolism of amber truly is. It represents immortality, preservation, the impossible wish of reaching back into time. But the truth is richer than fiction. Amber actually gives us creatures stranger, more bizarre, and more real than any fiction writer could invent. It whispers of evolutionary experiments, both triumphant and failed. It gives faces and eyes to creatures no larger than grains of rice, yet capable of rewriting biology books forever. So now imagine again the amber jewel glowing in your palm. No longer is it just decoration. It is a museum sealed inside a tear of time. It may contain an ant with sickle jaws, a frog no larger than a coin, a flower blooming long after its season ended, or perhaps a feather shimmering with dinosaur blood beneath. Amber shows us reality beyond imagination. It reveals that evolution freely experiments with forms shocking, grotesque, and beautiful. Some lineages survived, many perished, but inside these golden prisons, they endure. The most bizarre creatures found in amber are not myth. They are real. They are preserved in glistening detail. They are staring quietly back at us across 90 to 100 million years. The story of amber is the story of life's creativity at its most raw. It reminds us that every drop of ancient resin may hold another surprise, perhaps even stranger than all we have discovered so far. The next piece of amber to be uncovered might house a creature never imagined, a message waiting, a whisper that time has refused to silence. Amber is not simply stone. It is memory, it is evidence, it is wonder. And it invites us to look closer, to remember that life, in all ages, has always been far stranger, wilder, and more bizarre than fiction could ever dare to dream.